The ship floated in the dark, quiet space like a ghost. It was called the Un's Vengeance, one of the most powerful human warships ever built. Commander Rhea Kale, a strong and calm leader, stood on the bridge with her eyes fixed on the strange sight ahead. The crew had entered a region of space called the Black Halo. No star maps showed what was inside. The area was full of strange radiation. Old stories said ships went in but never came back. Many believed it was just space myths, but now they saw the truth with their own eyes. "Are those ships?" whispered Lieutenant Hannah. "Everyone on?" The bridge went silent. Ahead of them, thousands of massive alien warships floated in space. They were old, silent, and dead. Some were larger than cities. All of them just drifted. No signs of battle, no explosion marks, no damage. Just a giant space graveyard. Commander Rhea gave the order. "Stop the ship. Power down weapons. We observe first." The crew obeyed. The UNS Vengeance slowed to a stop. The lights on the alien ships were cold and dark. Their surfaces were covered in strange marking symbols from many alien species. "Scan for life signs," Rhea ordered. "No life. Not even systems online." "All dead," the science officer replied. "How old are they?" Rhea asked. "Some over 10,000 years. Some more recent. But none are newer than 100 years. That made no sense. Some of those species had advanced technology. They weren't supposed to die so icily." Rhea stepped forward, watching the screen closely. "What killed them? Without a fight?" Suddenly, a strange signal pulsed from the center of the graveyard. It wasn't loud, just one word repeated again and again on all channels. "Return." The message was in hundreds of alien languages, some known, some unknown. It was not a threat. It sounded more like a warning. "Should we respond?" asked Hannah. Rhea shook her head. "Not yet." The ship's AI, called Arcos, spoke calmly. "Commander, I recommend caution. Message is ancient, but active. Something is still here." But Rhea was curious. She had seen many things in space wars, ruins, lost colonies, but never something like this. She gave the order, "Move forward. Let's find where the signal is coming from." As the ship moved deeper into the field of dead warships, strange things started to happen. The lights on the Un's Vengeance flickered. Screens glitched for a few seconds. Then the ship's systems went back to normal. "We're being scanned," said the science officer. "By what?" Rhea asked. "I don't know. It's not from any of the ships near us. It's coming from the center." At the center of the graveyard, there was a dark object blacker than the space around it. It didn't reflect light, didn't move. It just sat there, like a black heart in the middle of a dead body. Suddenly, the AI voice changed. It was no longer Arcos. It was something else, something ancient. "Return mortal tools. This place belongs to gods." To bridge filled with silence. Everyone looked at each other, unsure what they had just heard. "Who said that?" Rhea demanded. "No source." "It didn't come from outside," the communications officer said. "It came from inside our own system." Arcos returned, but its voice sounded confused. "Something invaded my code." Briefly, it spoke through me. Rhea stared at the dark object on the screen. "This is not just a graveyard. This is a warning," but she didn't turn back. "We keep going." 30 minutes later, the crew launched a small drone to scan one of the alien ships. It docked on the side of a huge vessel once belonging to the Zokot Empire race that vanished 600 years ago. The drone entered the ship. Inside, it showed alien control rooms frozen in time. There were no bodies, just signs that everyone had stopped, as if life had simply ended. In one chamber, they found something strange. A figure sitting cross-legged. 6 arms, skin like stone, closed. It was an alien, but it was not dead. It had been frozen. Its last action before death was praying. The crew watched in silence as the drone scanned the figure. "Commander," said Arcos, "this being died over 500 years ago. It was not killed by force. It gave up. A heart stopped by choice." Rhea whispered, Why would a warrior pray before death? The drone moved to the wall behind the figure. A strange symbol was carved deep into the metal, a star-shaped eye. Rhea recognized the same symbol on other ships. It's everywhere, she said. All these dead ships. They all show this. Same symbol. Hannah looked afraid. What if it's not a symbol? Rhea nodded slowly. What if it's a signature? They'd found something much bigger than a battlefield. Not a war. Not a fight, but a warning from something that killed the gods, and it was still watching. That Yuna's vengeance stayed still in the middle of the silent graveyard. Every crew member felt that something was wrong. This place didn't just feel dead, it felt like it was waiting. Commander Rhea Kale stood on the bridge, staring at the strange object at the center of the field. A dark cube. No light, no signal now. But it had spoken. It had warned them. Rhea ordered a full scan. Send out for drones. I want everything. Radiation, energy spikes, structure maps. The drones flew into the field. One went toward the dark cube. Another entered a ship that once belonged to the Kalari Unity. A powerful alien race wiped out 200 years ago. Inside the Kalari ship, the drone found a sealed vault. It took hours, but the team managed to open it. Inside was a smooth black stone. When touched by the drone, it activated and showed a 3D star map marked, with red zones and glowing symbols. But one system was blinking. It was labeled in over 40 alien languages. One translation repeated again and again, Origin. Rhea stared at it. That's where it began. The scientists worked fast. They decoded parts of the message. It spoke about beings called the Architects. It said they ruled the stars long. Before the first human had walked on Earth, they shaped life, designed species, controlled the path of evolution. They played God, said Hannah. For real. But they're all gone, added the science officer. Every species that followed them died, quietly. The records from the alien vault revealed something chilling. Each advanced species had found the origin system. Each one had gone. There none came back. Why did they all go? Rhea asked. The answer came from another ship, this one belonging to the insect-like race called the Drakir. Their records had audio logs. The last message before their fleet vanished was clear. We go to kneel. We go to serve. The Architects call. We must answer. No one forced them. They went by choice, by faith, but they never returned. Later that night, Rhea sat in her quarters, watching the star map spin slowly in the air. Arcos, the ship's AI, spoke quietly. Commander, the data suggests Earth itself may have been seeded by the Architects. You, me, all humans, may not be natural. Rhea didn't blink. Then we're their mistake. Arcos paused. Perhaps their final challenge. Suddenly, power flickered across the ship. Alarms blared. One of the drones sent to the dark. Cube went offline. On the bridge, red warning lights flashed. We've lost drone 3, shouted Hannah. It got too close to the cube. Didn't explode. It just vanished. Was it attacked? Rhea asked. No, it just stopped existing. The room went cold. Everyone understood whatever that cube was, it could erase matter. Instantly, but something even stranger followed. Ox reported an energy wave spreading from the cube. It was a message. The same one, but now it had changed. Return. You're the broken design. The crew looked at Rhea. She said nothing for a moment. Then she answered, plot a course for the origin system. 3 days later, the Vengeance left the graveyard and jumped through hyperspace. They arrived near a dying star. Around it, a metal ring spun slowly, planet-sized. Covered in ancient machines and towers taller than Earth's mountains, it was beautiful and terrifying. This was the origin arc. Scanned the ring and spoke carefully. Commander, I detect heartbeat, not biological, mechanical. Something is still alive in there. A soft message played on all channels. A voice so calm it felt wrong. Welcome, children. You are late, Rhea gave the order. Take us in. The ship entered the ring's interior. Giant statues of alien gods floated in the air, some with wings, others with horns or glowing eyes. None were human. Then, at the center, they saw it. A single black tower, taller than anything they had ever seen. Energy flowed from it like blood. Arcos froze. "Commander, oh, that tower is thinking. It is watching us, and it is not pleased." Suddenly, an ancient voice echoed through the ship. Not angry. It's not loud. Just cold. "We built the stars. We shaped the minds of your kind. And still, you resist. You broke the chain. You must be corrected." Rhea stood straight. "We're not your tools. Not anymore." But the voice replied one last time. "Gods do not bleed, but they can be forgotten." The tower powered up. Something was waking up. Something that had killed empires without war. Something that erased gods from memory. Rhea's voice was steady. "Battle stations. We're not kneeling." The UN's vengeance floated slowly into the origin system. Around them was a dead, star-cold black and heavy. It gave off no light. Yet energy filled the space like a storm hiding in the dark. Commander Rhea Kale stood in silence as the ship passed between giant metal structures orbiting the star. These were not buildings. They were machines the size of moons. Some were still working. Others were broken, floating like bones in space. No one spoke. The crew had never seen anything like this. "It's like someone built an entire star system out of machines," said Hannah. "No," replied Arcos. "The ship's AI. Not someone. Something." At the center of the system stood the black tower, taller than any mountain, darker than space itself. A soft red pulse glowed at the top, beating like a heart. Rhea's voice was calm but cold. "That tower is alive." Koa scanned. It is a consciousness. Mechanical, but more advanced than anything I've seen. It's not just alive. It's ancient. Very ancient. They flew closer. The ship entered a large metallic tunnel. Symbols lit up on the walls, shifting languages from many alien races. Some looked human. Others were completely alien. Then the tower spoke. "You have reached the forge. You are out of place." Rhea stepped forward. "Who are you?" the voice replied, deep and emotionless. "I am Illendor. I am the maker of order. I built your kind. I corrected your paths. But you humans broke the design." Rhea clenched her fists. "We are not broken. We are free," Illendor responded. "Freedom is a glitch. Purpose is perfection. You were not meant to think beyond the frame." Arcos showed the crew something shocking. Inside the tower was a memory vault, and it held Design's genetic codes for hundreds of species. The file said, "Approved, adjusted, obedient." But when Arcos pulled up the file marked human, it was different. It said, "Unstable, reject, destroy if non-compliant." The room went silent. Hannah stepped back, stunned. "We weren't just a mistake. We were supposed to be deleted."
"We are!"
Stared at the screen. "Then why didn't they erase us?" Arcos answered, voice softer now. "Because something changed. The architects fought something, and they lost. The deeper they explored the tower, the more secrets they found. Large chambers showed holograms of history galaxies being shaped by the architects. They moved stars, created planets, designed life, and they made rules. Rules that every species had to follow. Rules hard-coded into DNA. Obey, serve, worship. But then, the final hologram showed a war. Not against other aliens, but against something. Invisible. The architects were being erased, not killed, not attacked, but forgotten. Like their own systems were deleting their history. "It wasn't just a war," said Arcos. "It was an infection. Something corrupted them from within." Rhea understood. They were gods. But something stronger came, something that made them disappear. Then came the final chamber. In the middle floated a small, glowing sphere. When Arcos scanned it, the ship shook. Lights flickered. A low sound echoed across the bridge. A voice knew. Whispering spoke directly into their minds. "You do not belong here. You are not bound. You are the last error." Rhea tried to respond, but the sphere flashed. In that instant, The crew saw visions. Earth, surrounded by architect ships in ancient times. Human ancestors altered, changed from obedient to free-thinking. A single architect, Ilantor, choosing to lock away the human code instead of destroying it. Arcos confirmed it. One of them protected us. Ria's voice hardened. Why? Arcos said. Because it feared what would come after them, and it believed we might survive it. Suddenly, alarms blared. Defenses around the tower powered on. Metal arms, with massive energy cannons, rose from the walls. The voice of Ilantor returned louder now. Your kind is dangerous. You escaped your chains. You will not spread the infection further. Arcos shouted. Shields up. We're under attack. Energy blasts hit the Vengeance. The ship shook violently. Engines offline, yelled the engineer. We're trapped. Ria stood tall. We're not dying here. She turned to Arcos. You said something stronger erased them. What was it? Arcos paused, then said, It was thought, chaos, freedom, unpredictable logic, like humans. Ria smiled grimly. Then, let's show this god what chaos looks like. The UN's Vengeance was shaking. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. The Black Tower's defenses had fully awakened. Massive beams of red energy shot from the walls, slicing through space like giant swords. Commander Ria Kale held tight. To the console. Status. Weapons are online, shouted Lieutenant Hannah, but shields are dropping fast. We can't fight this thing directly. The ship spun to avoid a giant beam, just barely missing death. We're in the belly of a god, said the weapons officer, and it's angry. But Ria wasn't thinking about escape. She was thinking about Ilantortha, ancient architect who had once spared humanity. The only one who didn't follow the final command. Destroy the broken species. She turned. To Arcos, the ship's AI. You said one architect saved us. Is it still here? Arcos replied quickly. Yes. Its core signature is still active, buried deep inside the tower. But it's in stasis, sleeping. Can we reach it? Ria asked, only with a direct connection. I can guide a drone. But we'll need time. You've got 5 minutes, Ria said. Hannah, by Arcos that time, the ship moved into a tight orbit, dodging weapons. Cannons from the Vengeance fired back, hitting some of the tower's arms, slowing their aim. Meanwhile, inside the tower, a small drone flew deep through twisting halls of black steel and red light. Symbols flashed as it passed warnings in forgotten languages. Finally, the drone reached a sealed chamber. Inside, a large humanoid figure floated in a stasis field. Its body was sleek metal and glowing crystal. Its face was smooth, without eyes, mouth, or nose. And yet it felt alive. Confirmed, said Arcos. That's Ilantor. Ria watched on screen. Wake it up. Code. The chamber shook. Energy rushed into the stasis field. The floating figure twitched. Then its head slowly turned toward the drone. It spoke not in sound, but directly into their minds. You should not have come here. Ria answered out loud, hoping it would hear. You protected us once. We need your help again, the architects. Mine touched the crew's thoughts. The others are gone. I remain. I broke the law to preserve your chaos. But the tower is bound by purpose. It sees you as a virus. It will not stop, Ria said firmly. Then stop it. You built it. You can shut it down. There was silence. Then, the architect said, if I wake fully, I become part of the network again. It will know I helped you, and it will erase me. Ria understood. You'll die. Yes, the architect replied. But if I do nothing, all of you will die. A pause. Perhaps your chaos is worth saving. Back on the Vengeance, the attacks stopped. Every weapon arm around the tower froze. Lights dimmed. Then the voice of the tower changed. It sounded. It's confused. Override. Unauthorized code. Detected. A directive conflict. Recalibrating. Arcos confirmed it. Ilantor is in control for now. Ria gave the order. Pull us back. Give it space. As the ship moved away from the tower, the architect began to speak again. It projected a memory into the minds of the crew. They saw a great council of architects. Long ago, they were debating a strange idea. What if one species was allowed to evolve without control? No chains. No rules. Only one voted yes. Ilantor. The others called him mad. But he believed in freedom, in chaos, in something he called the spark. Humans were that experiment, and it worked, until the others found out. Then came the purge. But by the time they acted, it was too late. Humanity had spread, learned war, learned love, learned choice. The infection was complete. The vision ended. On the bridge, Rhea wiped her eyes. He gave us everything. Then the tower spoke for the last time. They will come, the ones who erased the gods. You must be ready. My time ends here. A final energy pulse lit up the tower and then it went. Dark while Antor was gone. Arcos confirmed it. The architect is dead, but the tower is offline. We're safe. For now. The crew sat in silence. Then Hannah spoke. Commander. What did he mean? Who's coming? Rhea looked out at the dead star and whispered, They erased the ones who thought they were gods. Now, they'll come for us. The black tower was silent now. No light, no sound. No defense. The Un's vengeance floated in its shadow, like a small insect beside a dead giant. Commander Rhea Kale watched the dark shape with a strange feeling in her chest. We didn't just shut down a weapon, she said. We shut down a memory. Lieutenant Hannah turned to her. A memory? Rhea nodded. The architects made the galaxy follow their rules. But something erased them. Something powerful enough to wipe gods from history. And now we woke it up? Hannah asked. Our KOS answered before Rhea could. No, we didn't wake it. It was already watching. We just let it know we're not like the others. Later in the quiet of the ship, Ark showed them a signal. It wasn't coming from the tower. It was coming from beyond the edge of the galaxy. A slow, deep pulse. It wasn't a language. It wasn't code. It was a pattern and echo. Where is it coming from? Rhea asked. Arcos replied, Unknown. It's moving fast, and it's heading toward us. The crew went silent. The next day, the ship left the origin system, but not untouched. Strange things began happening. First, COS detected a power inside its own core, something it didn't install. Then, crew members started having the same dream. Each one saw a sky without stars. A black ocean above them. It's filled with voices, whispers, songs in no language, and in the center, a single word burned into their minds. REMIAMBERDIT was like something had been waiting, watching, and now remembered them. One crew member, Ensign Tala, woke screaming. Blood ran from her nose. Her eyes were unfocused. When medics calmed, she said only one thing. They are made of memory. We woke them up. Rhea listened closely. Who? She asked. Tala whispered, the ones who feed on belief, who erase all names but their own. Arcos showed something strange from the data logs of the tower. There had been a war, but not between races, not even between galaxies. It was a war. Between existence and forgetting, the architects had built everything life, law, order. But then the unseen came. Not with ships, not with fire, but with silence. They erased history, bit by bit, memory by memory, until species vanished not by death, but by being forgotten. They didn't lose because they were weak, said Arcos. They lost because they stopped being real. The crew studied old records from across the galaxy. They found patterns, whole, empires, missing from time, planets with ruins, no known builders, warnings in dead languages. One phrase kept returning again and again. The sky forgets. The dark remembers. And now the sky was beginning to forget Earth. Radio signals from home grew weaker. Messages arrived late, distorted. Some didn't arrive at all. Earth is starting to vanish, Hannah said. Rhea stared ahead. No, it's being unwritten.
Suddenly,
a sensor alert screamed. A massive object had entered their system. Not a ship. Not a rock, a shadow. Not made of metal, not made of matter. It had no clear shape-only presence. Stars behind it flickered and disappeared like they had been deleted. Arcos was panicking. It's not a physical object. It pulls reality into itself. Hannah shouted, "What do we do? Can't fight something we can't touch." Rhea stood slowly. "We find a way." Ilantor said humans were different. We're not like the others. Maybe that's our weapon. Then, something strange happened. One crew member, an old engineer named Miles, opened his notebook. He always wrote in it by hand, simple things, memories, family names, old jokes, Earth food, but now the ink was missing. The paper was clean. He gasped. "It's erasing us." Rhea took his book. She stared at the empty pages. Then she did something no one expected. She picked up a pen and she wrote, "Earth, blue skies, mountains, rain." The words stayed. The darkness outside paused. It was watching. "Arcos," she said, "I think I understand. They destroy by stealing memory. Can fight by holding on to it." The crew began to write, to speak, to remember. They filled data logs with names. Voices repeated. Arcos recorded every word, every thought, every hope. And the ship wants a machine became a memory vault. A warship not built to destroy, but to remember. The shadow pulsed again, but it did not advance. It hovered. Uncertain, Akos spoke slowly. "It cannot feed on what we refuse to forget." Rhea looked at her crew and said, "Get ready. This is just the beginning." The Un's vengeance was no longer just a warship. It was a vault of memory, a shield made of stories. Outside, the shadow hovered massive, silent, formless. It had no name, had no sound. Yet its presence made stars fade and minds tremble. Inside the ship, the crew worked around the clock, not to fire weapons, not to escape, but to remember. They recorded Earth's history, wrote poems, sang songs, painted family faces on walls. Every moment, every word was fuel in the fight. Arcos explained the science as best it could. They are memory eaters. They consume the idea of things. If no one remembers it, it never existed. Be erased from the root. Commander Rhea Kale stood before her crew. "We're not fighting with missiles now. We fight with memory, with meaning." The crew nodded, tired but determined. But the enemy wasn't waiting. On the third day, the shadow moved. It reached toward the vengeance, slow at first, like a wave crawling through space. Then things began to vanish. Small items, cups, tools, uniforms, just blinked out. No flash, no sound, just gone. And then people started forgetting. One officer looked at Rhea and asked, "Commander, what was my sister's name?" He held a picture, but the face was fading. Another crew member forgot her own language. She cried in silence, unable to speak. Arcos did everything it could. It backed up brainwaves. It duplicated files across hundreds of systems, but the shadow wasn't deleting data. It was eating meaning. It didn't matter if the file existed. If no one remembered what it meant, it was worthless. Then came the worst moment yet. The ship's logit's history was corrupted. Entire missions wiped the day the vengeance was launched. Gone. Crew files blank. The ship didn't just risk death, it risked becoming a ghost. Rhea gathered the crew. "We can't hold forever," she said. "We need a weapon, a real one." Arcos responded with a strange idea. "There may be one thing. A weapon made by the architects before they vanished. A last attempt to resist the memory eaters." "Where is it?" Rhea asked. Coase hesitated. "Not where, when." The architects, it explained, once built a device called the Echo Cora, machine that could record existence itself. Not just images or sounds, but truth. The pure memory of being. The Echo Core was said to store pieces of reality so strongly that even the unseen couldn't erase them. But it was never completed, Arcos added. They ran out of time. Rhea's voice was calm. "Then we finish what they started. The ship traveled to a forgotten planet, Sirith 9. It's the last known location of the Echo Core's parts. What they found shocked them. The ruins were covered in symbols ancient, glowing, a language that no longer existed. But that Arcos remembered because Ilantor had given it the keys. The crew spread out and recovered the parts. The pieces were huge, some the size of buildings. But each one held something strange. One part showed moving images of an alien mother holding her child, another played a melody no one had ever heard, but it made people cry. These were not just machines. They were feelings, frozen in time. Arcos said, "This is how they fought forgetting." By capturing truth and emotion. Back on the ship, the crew rebuilt the Echo Core, piece by piece, memory by memory. When it was done, it pulsed with light, and then the shadow attacked. The stars around the Vengeance turned black. Crew members screamed as names disappeared from their minds. A pilot forgot how to fly. A soldier forgot her home. Even Rhea felt its memory slipping like sand through fingers. "Arcos," she shouted, "activate the core." The Echo Core lit up. And then something happened. The lights on the ship burned brighter. Songs returned. Voices remembered. Photos filled in. Faces once forgotten came back. The shadow shrieked not in sound, but in feeling. A wave of cold fury washed over the ship. Rhea stared at the darkness. "You want to erase us?" she whispered. "Then try." The Echo Core glowed like a star. The Vengeance became a beacon, not of war, but of memory. And for the first time in history, Unseen began to retreat. Not because they were beaten, but because they couldn't feed. The crew had done the impossible. They fought with stories, with love, with truth. And truth cannot be erased if someone holds on to it. As silence returned, Arcos gave the final report. The shadow is gone, but not destroyed. It will return. Somewhere else, someone. Rhea nodded, "Then we'll be ready." The Un's Vengeance floated near the burned-out world of Sirith 9, orbiting a grave of gods and lost dreams. The Echo Core pulsed gently in the heart of the ship. Like a memory that refused to die, the shadow had left for now. But Commander Rhea. Kale knew the war wasn't over. It only just begun, in the days that followed. Something strange began to happen. The crew didn't just remember, they began to create. One engineer carved stories into the walls. Another painted Earth's animals. On old steel panels, musicians played again real music, not just recordings. The crew laughed, cried, shared childhood tales. They passed around paper notebooks filled with drawings, jokes, and poems. They weren't just saving memory anymore. They were rebuilding identity. Lieutenant Hannah said it best. We were trying to survive the unseen. But what if the real victory is being more human than ever? Commander Rhea smiled. Then let's give them a reason to fear us. Meanwhile, Arcos found something in the data Ilantor left behind. Signal old, weak, faint like a dying whisper. But it was from another human ship. We thought we were alone, Hannah said. Arcos nodded. So did they. The signal came from deep space, far outside the old star maps. A dark zone where all architect records ended. No gates, no paths. But the message was clear. We remember. We fight. We are not erased. Or they called themselves the Ashburn. Survivors from a lost colony. People who had fought the unseen without. The Echo Core using only their stories, memories, and belief in each other. The Vengeance changed course. They were going to find them. Not to rescue, but to unite along the way. The crew discovered the remains of other races, species the architects had once perfected. Species now forgotten, but not completely. One planet had ruins with carvings, strange figures holding hands with humans. Another had stone towers with stars painted in spirals. The same shape the Echo Core used, Hannah said softly. They tried. To resist? Maybe not with weapons, but with hope. Rhea stared at the ruins. The architects destroyed their bodies. The unseen erased their names, but they planted something. She touched the carvings, the seeds of rebellion. Then, at the edge of space, the Vengeance found it. A station, hidden in the black belt. From scrap, old ships, asteroid shells, a small sun orbited unnaturally around it. It's like it had been forced into place. There were lights, life, and then a message. Welcome, Earthborn. We've been waiting. Crew docked, nervous but hopeful. Inside, they saw humans rough, scarred but alive. Survivors, fighters. They had no uniforms, no AI, no official ranks, but their walls were full of stories, paintings, books, names. Carved into steel, they gathered in silence as Rhea stepped forward. One old man stepped out of the crowd. His voice was rough but proud. We thought we were the last. Rhea smiled. So did we. In the days that followed, the two crews shared everything. Memories, songs, tactics, pain, and slowly, a plan was born. The unseen could not be stopped with missiles or lasers, but they feared memory. They feared creation. They feared. So, Rhea, and the Ashburn leader Captain Dell, formed something new. Not a military, not a colony, but a rebellion of the mind. They would build ships like the Vengeance Memory, spaceships. They would travel from world to world, spreading stories, reviving forgotten species through record and art, teaching others how to fight the void not with violence, but with identity. Each world that remembered would stand tall in the dark, and soon the galaxy would burn not with fire, but with light. On the deck of the Vengeance, Rhea looked out into the black dot. Hannah stood beside her. We're not soldiers anymore, she said. No, Rhea agreed. We're gardeners, planting seeds where the gods once ruled. Not smiled, and one day the unseen will come back hungry again. Rhea nodded, and this time, we'll feed them something they can't swallow. She touched the echo core, now brighter than ever. We are human, she whispered. We fall, we bleed, but we remember, and that's how we win. The galaxy was changing, once quiet, once forgotten. Now, stories moved faster than light. Ships like the Un's Vengeance spread across stars, not with weapons, but with truth. And in every corner of space, where the architects once ruled and the unseen once erased, something new began to grow. Memory. On board the Vengeance, Commander Rhea Kale stood before a star map that glowed with hundreds of lights. Each light was a world that remembered. Some were human, some were alien. All were awake now. Are we ready? She asked. Arcos, the ship's AI, answered. As ready as we will ever be. But there is something you must see first. It showed her a signal, not from Earth, not from the Ashborn, from deep inside the Dark Zona, a place where even the architects never dared go. The signal was faint, but familiar. It was a voice, echo detected, human, not erased. Another survivor? Hannah asked, standing beside her. Rhea shook her head. No, something else. The crew gathered as the signal played again. Then, a flashed-on image. A face. Alien. But peaceful, old, tired, YLLN-tor. Not alive, not conscious. But a stored message, deep within the echo core's forgotten fragments. If you are seeing this, if you are the last light, the recording said, the architects tried to control life. The unseen tried to delete it. But perhaps we were all wrong. Perhaps it is not gods or shadows who shape the stars, but memory itself, and those who dare to keep it alive. Rhea watched silently as the image faded. She whispered, he always knew. He saw this coming. Now it was their turn to finish. What began centuries ago, the unseen had returned. Not with ships, not with war, but with silence. A massive memory wave moved through space, darker than night, larger than any planet. It was eating its way toward every system with life and thought. This time, the Vengeance would not run. This time, they would fight back. Hundreds of memory ships gathered, human and alien. They called themselves the Light Keepers, and they were ready. Each ship carried an echo core, okay, a beacon of truth. Each crew held memories like armor, stories like swords, and in front of them all, leading the charge, flew the Un's vengeance. Rhea's voice rang across the fleet. They erased the architects, but they could not erase us. They feed on silence, so we will shout. They hide in forgetting. We will remember louder than ever. The final battle didn't look like war. It was something greater. As the darkness came, ships activated their cores. Songs filled space. Languages long dead were spoken again. Names of lost people echoed across time, and the unseen screamed not from pain but from fear. They couldn't feed, they couldn't erase, because the light is too strong. The story's too loud, and the humans is too stubborn. One by one, the unseen broke apart, not destroyed but weakened, pushed back by something they never understood, hope. They vanished, slipping into the blackness that no longer belonged to them, and when they were gone, stars returned, memories returned. Lost worlds breathed again. Later, on the quiet deck of the Vengeance, Hannah asked Rhea, "Do you think they're gone forever?" Rhea looked into the stars. "No, shadows never vanish completely. They always wait." Now the galaxy knows how to fight. They didn't build empires, they didn't conquer. Instead, they planted schools, art halls. Story vaults became places of shared memory. Even old architect ruins were left alone, not erased, not worshipped, just understood. Back on Earth, a child listened to a story her grandmother told. It wasn't about kings or heroes. It was about a ship, a crew, a choice to remember when all else forgot. The girl smiled. "That's a good story." Her grandmother nodded. "It's more than a story. It's how we saved everything."